Yeah, so I could talk about this. This was one of the up and coming things that I researched for 2022, one of the resources that teachers should be using for this school year.
So, and Tanya, this goes right along with, the many presentations in your research in terms of gamification. Make sure the games have a purpose, but it can be very, very effective learning tools to get the kids in playing games, to learn new concepts and to practice concepts that are familiar to them.
Exactly, exactly. And a lot of times there is that fine line between not monitoring my students and keeping them busy with games. That's not what gamification is. Gamification is where there's this intended use, this expected outcome from playing the games, not just retention of facts or information. You pick a specific game for that leveling option, for that motivation, but also for them to be connected to some content area that you're working on in class. It's not just something to keep them busy and out of your hair while you do something else. It's not something to fill a station. It's something that will be rigorous to some extent, but also supporting what you've already been doing in your classroom. And in this one, I like it because it's broken down into K1 to, all the way to 6. And this one is supposed to be totally free. I haven't clicked enough for it to bother me. I've clicked enough, but it's never told me that I had to pay something.
Yeah, so I have looked into it a little bit, and yeah, it's got a large collection of free games that they're a participatory in the COPPA, which basically means that students' individualized information is not going to be shared or distributed. Anything you type in is not going to be used for marketing purposes. So that's certainly one of the things to look at as you're selecting programs is it keeping my kids safe online, or is it exposing them to risk? And so if you look for things that are kid safe certified or COPPA certified,
Yeah, there you
there's
go.
a couple of other legitimate certification groups out there as well. But that's something I always encourage teachers and parents to look at. Is this game one that's going to be exposing my child to online dangers, or is it certified by one of these organizations that we do respect your child's privacy? We're not going to generate marketing materials to try and sell something as a result of playing this game. Doesn't mean that the game might not have a paid version, but they're not going to be trying to sell you stuff as you play the game.
Did you see this little announcement that's up on Tanya's screen, though,
Yeah.
that they're ending their subscription?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I thought it was going to say the opposite.
Yeah.
That is exactly, I mean, that, I'm not sure what you get when is that what you got when you went to the subscribe?
Yeah, I went to sign in and I tried to sign in as a teacher. And then it said this message down here that we're continuing as a free learning site. And then I thought, well, I should subscribe. So then I went to subscribe because I'm trying to, and then it says, thank you for your interest in a paid subscription, but we're not doing that. We're going to do free for now on. So
now be aware when they say free, and I want to expand on what I was just mentioning about ads and so forth. So a lot of times the free sites do have ads, but what makes them a safe site in terms of your students' privacy and security is any ads that are generated, they're not based on the student's individual information. They're not targeting you with ads based on how you did with the game. There are some very famous cases here in Ohio, including that hit the national news, where companies were targeting parents with ads based on how the student performed in an online game. And so that type of marketing is not permitted. So you may see some games, but it's not using students' you may see some ads as you're playing the math games, but they're not going to be based on students' private information. And so I think that's really important. I do want to say one more thing here while I'm talking. And Tanya, you said something, as you select these games, make sure there's a reason for it. And as you look at not just what's going on in your classroom, but what people are seeing happen in your classroom, what administrators and curriculum directors and parents are seeing happen in your classroom. I mean, frankly, and Tanya, you can comment on this a little bit if you will. A lot of times we see teachers are criticized for having games in the classroom. And you want to be able to make sure that as a classroom teacher or as a tech director or as a curriculum director, you're able to explain, yes, they're playing games and here's why. This is how it's helping meet the learning objectives for your student.
Exactly. Yeah. And there is a negative connotation associated with games and fun for that matter. I mean, there's a lot of stories that I've heard over the years being with NWAT that one that I'm trying to mitigate right now with administration and teachers is that the administrator does see the kids, the kids playing games during class time and associates that with not the teacher not doing her job or his job. And so the teachers are saying, we're doing our job. These are games that actually the district pays for. One of them's everyday math, and those are games that the district is putting funds into, but the administration is pushing back and saying, you're just having the kids play games all day. Well, that's where we go in and say, how are you using these games? Are they supporting the content? Are they supporting the curriculum? How are you managing it in your classroom? When are they allowed to do the games? And making sure that they're doing it to the best level of what research shows to be gamification at its best, and the way to use it the best.
So to protect your classroom integrity and to make sure that you can teach the way you think is best to be teaching, make sure as a classroom teacher or as an individual responsible within your building and district for selecting and approving online resources, make sure you've got that answer. We're using this resource. Yeah, it's a game, but here are the learning objectives. Here are how students are going to profit and grow in their abilities by engaging in this particular game, this gamification, this learning through games. And, in the arts, it's true as well. We can learn through songs. We can learn through music. We can learn through a lot of different tools that are sometimes, kind of overlooked or poo-pooed as not being real learning. It can be real learning indeed.
Exactly.
Tanya, have you tried this on like iPads or smartphones or anything like that? Does it work just through a browser, or is there an app for it or anything like that you know?
I haven't seen an app for it, but let me try it on my phone.
And I assume if it's working on a computer, it will work on a Chromebook through the browser.
Through the browser, yeah. And yeah, it's working on my phone right now.
Which is, great, eating in a restaurant and it's taken a long time. The kids are done eating. If you can hand them a phone with a learning game like these are, I think that will be a good game to play for them.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than having them play some other game on your
or watch YouTube
educationally
or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
That
there and I just clicked on one of the things on my phone, and one of the options, I'll get this hooked up hopefully very quickly. One of the options is to share to Google Classroom.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Let's see if I can share that. Allow. Whoops. Okay. Then we'll see if I can share my phone. I'll try to get that up, but it has your iconic share to Google Classroom button, so I can hit that and then go directly to my Google Classroom and just add it as an assignment or as a link.
Oh, that would be, because I can imagine if, first, second, third graders go in and they're told to click on a certain game, they get distracted by the other things they see with all those choices. And if you can have it in Google Classroom, as the kids learn to go to Google Classroom automatically, and there it is. And
right,
when you go on to a different concept, then that one's taken off or put in a different place on the for homework or outside or.
Right. Or on your, you can
And
put
you know,
it-
some of these games do not integrate well with Google Classroom, but you could still link to them through the classroom. You can still monitor that, yes, the student did go to this website because they clicked on that assignment, and they can even report back something as simple as, what level did you finish, or something like that, or a pull down menu of, which of these learning games did you participate in last night. So it's kind of clunky, but it does give you a way of continuing to manage all of your instruction through one spot, through Google Classroom, for example, or Schoology, or whatever you might be using, when the games don't integrate well with them. So if you want to learn more about that or have questions, we'll be glad to demonstrate and talk with you about, how you can take any online reading.
There, look at that. She's sharing her device.
there's the share to Google Classroom. So you click on it. Okay. And then,
Oh, it's even got the standards right there.
yeah. Common Core connection
Standards.
for grades 1 and 2. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. And like Judy said, this could be something to help your kids be entertained during dinner rather than whatever's already loaded on your phone. And it works in a browser. It works on looks like it works on an iOS device on a browser kind of thing. And I'm using Chrome on all of these. So
well, it looks like it is got some kind of, well, there's a little ad at the bottom, but it looks like it's got something that adapts to the mobile device that you're using rather than just the standard view on a computer.
And again, it's just our kids spend so much time online, and we need to talk again about limiting screen time and make sure that there's non-computer based, non-tech based activities in every child's life, and every adult's life too, for that matter. But we know that kids are going to spend a lot of time online, and there's sometimes when it's probably very appropriate to be doing online activities, long rides on the car, or as you mentioned, dinner time at a restaurant, whatever. So take that time and turn playtime, or perhaps I should better say, take wasted time and turn it into active, engaged learning, playing time. And there's just lots of resources out there to help you do that. Pick one or two that look good. Don't give your child 40 different options. Pick one or two that's aligned with what they're working on right now in the regular classroom, and you really will see improvements in their engagement in the classroom as well. That's one of the things that our research tells us, is that when kids have engaged online learning experience in a game mode or play mode, they become more engaged in the classroom instruction and that content as well.
I also saw one thing when she was demonstrating that website, that it had some print when you were in the stories area, it had things you could print, some kind of math situation or problems or whatever, that I don't know where you were at. You were in the 6th grade, but it had an option to have to print it.
and all these links will be included on the resource page. Any links we talk about and contact information will be in this video, but also on the link on the page that you see right now, or on the video that you see right now, guiding you to some of these things. Oh, I didn't scroll down far enough to see these. These are kind of neat.
Yeah.
Integers and little algebra and geometry going on there.
I mean, that is an unbelievable collection of activities.
I used to love this when I was a kid. Break the code. Yeah, on the puzzle slide. Yeah, that'll be fun. And some of these are similar to games that you have on your phone. I mean, I can recall a lot of these, but dealing with something more logic related, specifically to something that you might be working on in your classroom, like we said. Yeah, great resource, and be fun to just kind of click through and pick something and add it to your Google Classroom if needed, or just use it as something on your interactive board, your Clever Touch, your smart board, your active panel. You could use it on there, and the kids could play the games up front, and then you could discuss the concepts as they're going through the games, and make it into a nice little lesson / gamified motivation activity for your classroom.
There's another one that just, I mean, this is an ad for that, but Puzzle Playground, I would definitely check that out as well. It says it's a same company.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Which makes sense that, oh, that countries and capital, there we go into social studies.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna write that one down too.
Make sure we include that on our resource page for everybody that wants to have more information about that. So